Right, welcome back. If you haven't watched previous episodes, I'm basically doing a lap around Cebu Island. Just what I was doing essentially was riding a motorbike or a scooter, and each morning or each night before I would look at roughly where I was going to travel the next day, 2 or 3 hours ride, and find some place to stay, and then in between those places, I'd look for things to do, and that would kind of be my day. Sometimes I'd drive down there, drop my stuff off and ride back, do the things. Sometimes I'd ride down, do the things, and then go back, grab my stuff and ride down. So from that last one, I think we're at Melbas, Homestyle, I think it's called. And from there, we were traveling across the bottom of Cebu Island, basically, and starting to go up the west coast. So the bottom of Cebu is pretty beautiful. It's not like sandy beaches or anything, but it's kind of rocky beaches and whatnot. But it's very beautiful. Looks nice. The people are friendly. Obviously, people are friendly everywhere in the Philippines, but everyone was friendly around there, and it was just beautiful. So I jumped on the bike. I found a place I was going to go and stay, and got going basically. As I was coming around the bottom and starting to come up the west side, I saw a sign saying something about the tallest point on Cebu Island, and I assumed there'd be some sort of, I don't know, lookout or like a maybe a cafe or like something up there that you could go to and take some photos from and whatnot. So when I got to the road where it said to go up there, I was like, let's go, bang. So I shot up there. I mean, you can see some of the photos I've taken here that it is quite high, not as high as some places in other parts of the Philippines, obviously, but for Cebu, it's obviously the highest point. But yeah, I rode all the way up there, got all the way to the top. Was not really sure if that was the top, so I kept going and ended up quite a long way into the middle of nowhere, really, in the middle of the mountains in Cebu, which was interesting. Just nice to sort of get around and have a look around there. But yeah, on the way back through, I stopped at that top point. There is no real lookout. There's nothing up there really. There's like a I don't know what it is, like a fence and a little, I don't know if it's a power station or a water station, or there's a little sort of building fenced off in an area. But there's really nothing up there. Nice views though. But yeah, you've got nowhere really to stop other than just stopping on the side of the road. And yeah, took some photos and continued on. Now it's pretty steep, so you know, if you're worried about steep bits, that last little bit is quite steep. It doesn't really show it in the camera, but it was pretty steep. But it was fine, we're fine. So yeah, then we came down from there and continued on up the coast. I was heading up to Bananabe Treehouse, which was a little sort of resorty type place that I was going to stay for the night. Again, I booked it that morning or the night before and got a really good rate because it was so close to the day, and they probably weren't going to get anyone in there anyway, so that was cool. I ended up being, I think, the only person there. They probably had 4 or 5 rooms, I think. The pool was absolutely beautiful, and yeah, the place was lovely. The actual houses or apartments, or whatever you want to call it, the rooms that you're in, are kind of like that nipa hut style. But it was good. It was you had a little balcony, a little sort of veranda area out the front. Yeah, it was good. You can have a look on the videos there to see what it looks like. And then at night time, I took some photos of the pool and whatnot there, which was, yeah, it looked stunning at night, and the pool was beautiful. So yeah, it was a nice place. I think it was about maybe 30 or 35 Australian dollars for the night. So yeah, not bad. So anyway, I dropped off my stuff there and I turned around and rode back down south a little bit. There was some waterfalls I wanted to go and have a look at there. So I got to where I thought they were, and there was a couple there, but I couldn't really sort of figure it out on my own, and I was a bit sort of, I don't know how to do all this. So I ended up going to another one which was just a little bit further up the road, where there was clearly staff and whatnot there, and you paid an entrance fee, and there was guides there and whatnot. That was called Binalayan Falls, I think. Binalayan Hidden Falls, I think it was called. And so yeah, I ended up, you get a guide to go with you, and I kind of didn't think I'd need a guide. I just sort of, I'll just walk up the trail. but they insisted that you need a guide, and they don't give you a figure, so it's kind of like a pay whatever you think is reasonable type arrangement, which I'm not super cool with because I don't know how much to pay them. I don't know what's reasonable and fair. But anyway, it is what it is. Anyway, it was lucky we had the guide because the walk was pretty long, and the road was kind of just like it was like an animal track going up into the mountain basically, and it split 4 or 5 different times, and 100% I would have gone the wrong way. So definitely it was worth bringing the guide with me for that. I think generally people go up there and they go swimming for a few hours or something like that. I was just going up there because I wanted to take some photos. I wasn't really prepared for swimming. I didn't have the right clothes, I didn't have the right shoes. This trip I was just not well prepared for going into rocky water and stuff like that. I was more prepared the next time. But anyway, we got up there, we walked all the way up and got there, and I took some photos and a bit of video of some guys up there who were climbing up the rocks and jumping off, which you can see there. It's would have been fun to do, but I probably would have fallen off and hurt myself or something maybe. I don't know, probably not, but it looked fun. So maybe another time I'll go back and have a go at that again. On the way there and on the way back, I was talking to the guide, and I can't remember his name, which is a little annoying, but we were just kind of chatting about just life and stuff, because it was a pretty long walk. I don't remember how long, but it might have been 30 minutes walk up there or something like that, maybe 45. Maybe it was less, I don't remember, but it was bloody hot and I was struggling. So we stopped a couple of times. But anyway, yeah, so we were chatting along the way, and I kind of just asked him about life and his family, and how it works with doing this job and how many people they get, because I remember when I got there to the actual grab the guide, there was like a little sort of tin shed sort of thing there would have been 15 or 20 guides I should say, all sort of sitting around in there. I don't imagine they had that many people coming through that needed guides, so I was kind of talking to him about it, and it's like, how many times a day would you get to go? And he's like, oh no, maybe once a day if you're lucky. Sometimes it's none. He goes, in off season when there's less tourists, he goes, I don't even come here to work. I was like, oh, okay, so what would you do then? He goes, well, I just go down off to the shore and throw nets out and try and catch some little fish to be able to feed my family and that. Anyway, so we were just talking about that, and I was like, oh yeah, how much, where do you live? And I live up in the mountains, quite a long way up in the mountains, so got to ride up there, and then you got to walk another 20 minutes or something into the mountains. Or it seemed pretty rough. And I was like, oh yeah, so you're married? And he goes, yep, I've got a wife, and I think it was 3 or 4 kids, that they were all like maybe under 5 or under 6 or something like that. And he told me that his wife doesn't work, which is probably pretty normal, raising the kids, and that basically this was where he made money from. And if there was no money here, he just went fishing and tried to catch enough fish to be able to give them some meat to eat. Pretty rough. Like, I felt bad for him. To be completely honest, you might be sitting there going, oh yeah, he's telling this as a sob story so that he gets more money out of you. I was the one asking the questions, and I was the one sort of not pressuring, but asking him about his family and asking him about how life works and asking him all this stuff. Like, he never once kind of played the poor me card or anything like that. But I did feel sorry for him, and I was like, well, it's not like it's a struggle for me. So on the way back, we were talking still, and I was kind of asking roughly how much people normally give as a, payment for the guide. And he's like, oh, it's up to you, it's up to you. I'm like, I get that, and that's fine, and it is up to me, and I'll pay what I think's fair. But what's normal? Like, would people normally give you 500 pesos or like 1,000 pesos or 50 pesos? Like, I don't know. And he's like, when I said 500, he was like, oh, no, that's too much. 500's too much. Maybe like 200 to 300 pesos. 200 to 300 pesos, far out. And that's, maybe if he's lucky, he gets one person a day, and he's got 4 kids or something and a wife and himself to feed. That's just not enough money. So anyway, I felt bad, and like, not that I felt bad, I did, but I kind of just I felt like I wanted to help him a little bit, because he took me all the way up there, and I felt bad. So anyway, I gave him 1,000 pesos at the end, and I thought, to me, I was like, okay, that's more than what he would normally get. That'll give him enough to cover him for maybe 2 or 3 days or 4 or 5 days. I don't know how much it would cover him for, but if he's normally getting 300 pesos once every couple of days, then surely 1,000 is going to last him a week or so. So I figured that's nice. And he was like, no, that's way too much. I'm not taking it. I'm like, just take it. You know, it's fine. It's not too much for me, and it helps you guys out, and it'll give you, you know, get your food, get some nice food or something for your kids or whatever. Like, just, you know, be lucky for one time. So he was super pumped, like, obviously, like, but he was really very thankful and asked me probably 4 or 5 more times at the end, are you sure? Are you sure? I'm like, yes, it's fine, it's fine. After I left, I spoke with a friend of mine who, you know, lives in the Philippines. She's from there as well. And she was like, why did you give him so much money? What's wrong with you? That's so much money. That's insane. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's just a little bit, and it helps them so much. I mean, for us, it's, what's that, maybe like $25 or $26, I guess. But it was, you know, maybe 45 minutes walking up, and then maybe half an hour or so up there looking at it all and helping me to get photos and stuff like that. And then another 40, like, it's 2 or 3, maybe 3 hours worth of work. For me, I think 3 hours worth of that sort of work that's probably fair. I think that's fair. Obviously, it's more than what he normally gets, but why not help a little bit if you can? Anyway, so that was cool. The story that he told about his kids and his wife and his family and all that were interesting, but I can't really remember them all off the top of my head to be able to go through it all. Anyway, so from there, back down and got some food and headed off back to the Bananabe Treehouse accommodation. When it was starting to get dark, so took some photos, like I said, of the pool and whatnot, and that was kind of it. Just rested and slept and got ready for the next day. Hello again, Sean from the future again. I've done it again. I have made too much in one video, so I'm splitting it into 2. So yeah, thanks for watching this half. Like and subscribe, do all those sort of things. Comment, tell me about the places you've been, waterfalls, anything in Cebu, anywhere in the Philippines. Just comment and tell me about it. I'd like a chat. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the second half. Bye.